You ever have one of those mornings where you know something's gone sideways before your coffee even cools? That was me, the sun barely crawling over the ridge, gravel crunching under my tires as I rolled down the driveway. I'd busted my back 20 years to own, only to find what looked like a rainbow-colored refugee camp stretched across my meadow tents. Everywhere, dogs off-leash somebody's music blasting from a Bluetooth speaker, and right smack in the middle, Karen herself holding court like she just inherited the place. I swear I could feel my blood pressure spike, but not from panic. No, it was something colder, something almost satisfied, because the second I saw that circus, I knew how it would end. See, they didn't know about the cameras tucked in the tree line, or the gate I reinforced last spring, or the fact that I'd been watching them from the hilltop phone in hand, catching Karen bossing folks around with her clipboard, already planning a whole weekend on my land. She saw me drive past, gave that little pageant wave, the one that says, "I know you're mad, but I'm going to do it anyway," and hollered something about community rights and easements, words she throws around whenever she wants to pretend the law's on her side. I just pulled up to the steel gate, swung it closed, and snapped the padlock so loud it echoed across the field. That got her attention. You could see the color drain from her face, and suddenly the whole party got a little quieter. She started arguing with her guest folks who thought they were showing up for some lakeside retreat, not realizing they were trespassing on land I'd defended through more court fights than I care to remember. I watched it all from the shade, scrolling through the security feeds on my phone, seeing Karen's volunteers realize their leader didn't have a clue what she'd gotten them into. By then, my lawyer had already called. Yeah, I told him it's begun. Because this wasn't my first rodeo with Karen. Last time she tried something, 2 of my goats went missing and she played dumb. This time I was ready. Deed in the glove box, no trespassing signs documented every inch of my boundary mapped and filed. As the sun climbed, cell signals dropped another bonus of living out here, by the way, and their picnic turned tense. Karen kept shouting about solidarity while her troops started sweating, checking their phones, muttering about calling the sheriff. I leaned against my truck, sipping coffee, looking calm, even as my heart beat like a drum, because one wrong move and I'd be the headline landowner locks and campers. But I knew my rights. They could walk out any time, leave their cars and their pride behind. Late morning, a handful tried hiking out past the creek, came back muddy and quiet, having met the marsh. Someone else tried to get help, but there's no bars out here for a reason. All the while, Karen's voice got shriller, her visor tilting with every failed pep talk, her control slipping like sand through her fingers. When the sun hit its peak, they started grilling, cranking up the music, acting like things were fine, but you could see it in their eyes. Fear's a funny thing. It's loud at first, then it sinks in quiet like a stone in your gut. That night I lay in my cabin listening to their laughter fade, then turn sharp, then vanish. By midnight somebody lost it, shouting something, crashing. I almost felt bad, almost. Dawn broke with folks huddled at the gate, kids looking pale, Karen looking wrecked, sunglasses on hair, flat voice cracking as she tried to negotiate. I just nodded, kept my mouth shut, let the silence work for me. When they begged to let the kids out, I reminded them they were trespassing. Sheriff called. He'd heard from my lawyer, knew what was up. I filmed everything, Karen waving fake legal papers, campers rolling their eyes at her bluster. She kept trying to rally them with talk of old easements, but I'd closed that loophole years ago. Her paper was just a county printout, not worth the ink. By the second night, things got ugly. Food ran low, adults whispered, kids cried. Karen climbed her SUV, waving her phone around for signal, probably spinning some sob story for her followers, but nobody was buying it. One guy tried to cut a deal, said he'd leave if I opened the gate. I told him the sheriff would sort it out in the morning. He cursed and stormed off. Rain rolled in thunder, rumbling the kind that makes everything feel sharper, meaner. I let the group stew dogs patrolling the fence, Karen stomping her foot, people muttering about bolt cutters and calling the National Guard. The third morning, I walked the fence line, coffee in hand, feeling more tired than angry. The meadow looked like a disaster zone, sagging tents, trash everywhere, and Karen clutching that clipboard like it could save her. The standoff had become a game of patience, and I had more of it than she did. One of the men tried reasoning again, said the kids were hungry, that this had gone far enough. I told him it ends when the sheriff gets here. He slunk away. Then, just to spice things up, 4 guys tried crossing the marsh. One got stuck in the mud, the others trying to pull him out, the whole thing like a bad sitcom. Even Karen couldn't rally them. She slipped in the grass, lost her visor. Half the campers laughed before remembering who was supposed to be in charge. By noon, storm clouds broke. Sheriff's truck rolled up, and that was it, the finale. He took one look at my folder, saw the videos, the deeds, the warning signs, and nodded. He told the crowd they were trespassing, that citations would be issued, that Karen would be responsible for the damages. Watching her stand there, mascara running in the rain, getting read the riot act, you'd think the lesson would have stuck. But humiliation does strange things to people. It turns shame into spite. Next morning, as I walked the perimeter, I found fresh footprints near the creek, smaller than mine, leading into the trees, like someone testing my boundaries after being told no. Checked the cameras, and sure enough, 3:26 a.m., there she was, hooded jacket and all. I sat back, whistled, almost impressed at her persistence. My lawyer said, "Stay calm, document everything," and that's what I did. Karen started calling county offices, spinning stories about being imprisoned, threatening injunctions. I beefed up the cameras, put up more lights, filed reports. It became a game, her stunts, my counter moves. Once she even left a padlock and a note on my gate claiming community access. I just bagged it for evidence, rolled my eyes, and moved on. Then came the surveyors. 2 guys in a battered van ignoring my no trespassing signs, setting up tripods like they owned the place. I called the sheriff, watched them pack up fast, and sent the footage to my lawyer. Karen doubled down, sent a certified letter through her attorney claiming I was breaking the law. My response: another folder of evidence, another calm phone call. Social media lit up, reporters showed up, and suddenly Karen wasn't just annoying her neighbors, she was starring in her own public disaster. Her lawyer tried to bail on her, the county billed her for damages. The restraining order arrived now, she couldn't come within 100 yards of my land. And still, she staged one last spectacle bullhorn, and all cameras pointed at me, ranting about bullying and public rights. Sheriff shut her down. Deputies threatened arrest, and finally the circus packed up for good. The day she got served with the cleanup bill, I almost felt bad. Almost. I watched her SUV idle up on the ridge, her sitting behind the wheel, probably scheming her next move, while I spread wildflower seed over the scarred meadow, planting something that would last longer than her bluster. I fixed fences, took the trash out. Watched my dogs finally relax. The air got quiet again, the kind of quiet that tells you a storm's past and you get to keep what's yours. Now, don't get me wrong, I know Karen's not done, not really. Folks like her never learn the easy way. She'll be back, maybe in court, maybe online, telling some twisted version of this story. But I got the truth and the law and every camera rolling. And if you ask me what I learned, it's that property isn't just dirt, it's backbone. Hold the line, stay patient, let the facts do the talking, and eventually, even the loudest fool will run out of breath. So here's my question for you. Where do you stand on this whole mess? You ever deal with someone who just can't take no for an answer? Tell me in the comments if you faced your own HOA nightmare or boundary battle, and whether you think I was right to stand my ground or should have handled it different. Because out here, sometimes doing what's right means standing alone, holding your ground, and waiting for the world to catch up.